Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm actually going to be discussing the mystery German Arsenal signing, which everybody seems to be talking about. It's been confirmed by a couple of reliable people, so I'm just going to basically go ahead and guess who this player could be and who I'd want this player to be from the German squad. But before I begin, if you are new here, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. It will be very much appreciated. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first mystery player that I suspect it could be is of course Joshua Kimich. Can play in the 6, can play in the 8 as well. Mostly, you know, I feel like he will be deployed next to Declan Rice, sometimes out of possession, a double pivot with Rice, and then in possession he'll maybe drop into the 6 and Declan will go into the 8. There's just loads of variety which could happen if we did sign Joshua Kimich. Of course, a lot of journalists have said that if Kimich was to leave Bayern, he would prefer to come to Arsenal or to go to Man City or Liverpool. Those are his 3 main teams. And of course, he is probably looking to leave Bayern Munich, and you know, it just screams to me as the most obvious choice of a player who would be coming to us after the Euros has been completed. I am a big fan of him. He is the right age, 28, you know, edging towards his late 20s. We need that experience now, known winners. Kimich has basically won it all. He's won himself the Bundesliga multiple times, and he's won himself a Champions League too. So adding a bit of, you know, fight and experience into our squad, exactly what we need. And Mikel Arteta is definitely looking for somebody like that to add to the squad, both in terms of his quality and in terms of his leadership as well. That I think is the next step for us being successful, is getting those players who know how to win, and Kimich certainly would be perfect for it. I'm not sure on how much he would cost. I'm seeing stuff like 35 to 40 million, which is actually pretty fair for a player of Kimich's quality. My only problem is his wages. He's obviously going to want to have a lot of wages. He's going to have high demands for his wages. But at what point do we as a club have to start accepting that when we want to get these quality players, they are going to cost quite a lot of money? So in that sense, I kind of would just ignore it and just bring Kimich in regardless of how much he wants. There has also been further reports actually that Kimich does want to come to Arsenal specifically. That's the only team he does want to join. And it would make sense, to be honest. I don't see him fitting in at Manchester City or at Liverpool, really. I feel like our project would be best for him, definitely. And yeah, Kimich is my suspect number 1, if we were going to call it that, for the player from Germany that Arsenal are set to sign after the completion of the Euros. But just before I go into the next player, where all of this mystery German Arsenal player stuff has come from, reliable source Team News and Ticks on his Patreon talked about Arsenal actually agreeing, trying to get a deal done with a German player. It's a market opportunity, somebody that maybe hasn't been on our list before but has come out, and Arsenal have seen it as a too good of an opportunity to turn down. And also Jeff Arsenal and ITK on Twitter has said that Arsenal are doing a deal with a German, and that is possible for a German to come to Arsenal following the completion of the Euros as well. So very exciting stuff there. So yep, suspect number 1, Kimich. Let me know what your thoughts would be on Kimich coming to the club. Would you want him to come? Do you feel like he's the right player we need, the right age, the right profile? I certainly do think he is. Now let's move on to the second possible mystery German player signing, and that player is of course Leroy Sane from FC Bayern Munich. Another player who hasn't really got his career on track at Bayern, hasn't really hit the heights we know he can, of course, that he hit at Manchester City. But he certainly is a profile that Mikel Arteta would definitely want at the club. Someone that's quick, somebody who can come inside the pitch at times as well, somebody who can stretch defenses in behind. He adds something different that we don't have with our other wingers, apart from Martinelli, of course, his speed forward. We haven't really got someone else outside of him. And that is a problem. We need to have more profiles. Sometimes games will get stretched and we need a bit of pace and energy on the wings. And Leroy Sane would make sense in that way. But my thing with Sane again is his price and heavy wages. It would seem like he would cost around 40 million. That is quite a lot for a player who hasn't really hit the ground running, plus his wages, which is, I think he's on around £350,000 per week at FC Bayern, which is a ridiculous amount, and would make him actually our highest earner. And the role he would play, would he be playing week in, week out? I'm not sure. Saka is obviously better than Sane, and then obviously can Sane play on that left wing? I don't know. He's more comfortable on that right wing. So there's a lot of dynamics which, you know, wouldn't really fit the bill for Sane being the mystery signing in a sense, but of course we cannot deny that the kid has got a lot of quality, and we certainly saw it when we played Bayern at the Emirates Stadium. Sane was absolutely electric and looked ridiculous. We couldn't stop him. Of course, he won that penalty from a mazy run. So he still has the fundamentals of a fantastic player, but is he the fantastic player we need right now? Can we take a punt at him? Would it be worth taking a punt at him in this sort of, where we are as a club? I am not too sure, but let me know your thoughts on Leroy Sane. Of course, he's again a player edging near his 30s, somebody that's going to be on high wages, and somebody who has quite a high price tag of £40 million. But he would make sense as the mystery signing because there's been zero links that are concrete, and he is at the Euros with Germany. So maybe it's Leroy Sane on his way, somebody who can play on both flanks and is quick, electric, and has an eye for goal, although he hasn't really been scoring much frequently for Bayern since he signed for Manchester City. So yeah, that's my suspect number 2, Leroy Sane. And now on to suspect number 3 from the players at the Euros anyway. I'm going to talk about a couple of players who aren't at the Euros, who potentially could be, the player that is the mystery German player. So let's get started, and that player is Jamal Musiala. And you guys may laugh and say, why would Jamal Musiala be the German player? Surely there would be a lot of, attention and links by now if he was the one. But he did reject a new contract offer from Bayern, and he only has 2 years left on his deal. And if we're listening to all these journalists that are saying it's a player who Arsenal, had too good of an opportunity to turn them down, then Jamal Musiala really does fit the bill. And he is a quality player. We all know that. We're seeing him shine at the Euros. Can play in the 8, can play left wing, can play right wing. Gives us a lot of variety in the attacking phases of play. And he just really is an all-round top player. Adds something different that we don't have: ball carrying, skill, ball striking in central areas, all the things you would want from a midfielder. But of course, I'm just thinking he's going to cost upwards north of £90 million. And I don't blame Bayern if they were to put a price tag like that. And of course, his wages, I think any wages for Jamal Musiala will be worth it at the end of the day, even if he was to become our highest paid player. So yeah, suspect number 3 is Jamal Musiala of Bayern Munich. All 3 of the players who are in the Euro squad are, Bayern players who I suspect to be the mystery German. But yeah, now let's move on to the players that maybe aren't, top of our heads to be that mystery German player. So first one is Karim Adeyemi of Borussia Dortmund. And there was links back when he was at Salzburg, where Arsenal actually wanted to sign him, but nothing ended up happening. So maybe he is a player who's come up on the market and we think this is too good of an opportunity to turn down. He kind of fits the bill. Someone who can play left wing, right wing, and up front in some circumstances. He's got blistering pace, like I've mentioned. He's got brilliant skill, and he's got a really good footballing brain. He knows how to stretch the pitch, and he just needs a bit of refining, especially with his finishing. We saw it in the Champions League final, but he is a constant threat and somebody I hope would actually be the mystery German signing. Of course, the only problem is he is at the Euros, so why would we want to hold up a player who's not even at the Euros? They just wouldn't really make sense and wouldn't really fit that bill of the mystery player. So yeah, Karim Adeyemi, really still young as well. A lot of refining needing to be done, but I can count Arteta to do that. Quality, and he would really just fit what we need from an attacker at this moment in time. Somebody who can, cover all 3 positions up front, and he does add something a bit different to our other attackers. And now finally, the last player, Alphonso Davies of Bayern Munich. He's a player who has, been on the transfer list. He's been on the transfer list for quite a while for Bayern. They do seem like they are, resigning him and see him as a player who can definitely leave the club this summer. Of course, Real Madrid were interested in him. I think that's kind of cooled since, the up in form of Ferland Mendy. He's not at the Euros again, so again, maybe he wouldn't be the mystery player purely based off of that. But, he plays for Bayern Munich in Germany, and he is the sort of profile we're missing in that left-back area. But of course, like I mentioned before in a video earlier, Calafiori seems to be getting done, so why would we want to spend, around 87 million, I think, in total for 2 players to play left back? It just wouldn't really make sense unless we see Davies as somebody who can play on the wing. It just wouldn't make sense. But it was a bit of a, a wild guess in terms of a player that couldn't be at the Euros with Germany. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are, gunners. Who do you think the mystery player is? I purely do not know. Like, I have no facts on who it could be, but my guess would actually be Joshua Kimmich. I'm kind of hoping it is Joshua Kimmich because I feel like he could complete us in that midfield area and offer good cover on the right back area too. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace.